Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show's Freedom from Addiction segment. And I'm excited to welcome the program author, writer, and radio host, Reverend Winn Henderson. Reverend Winn, Happy New Year. How are you?
Happy New Year to you, Neil. I'm doing good.
Absolutely. And we talk about New Year, and our topic today is New Year's resolutions. What's your New Year's resolution? And do you see specifically enough everyone that decides at this time of year they're going to have these resolutions and I'm going to follow through on them?
Well, I'm going to resolve to do my best job ever this year on getting this message out to as many people as possible.
And that's a great goal, to say the least. And New Year's resolutions, what are your thoughts about them?
Well, statistics show that most people quit their New Year's resolution by February. And I hope that that doesn't happen to the people listening today who have resolved to stop an addiction. And that's what I'm here to help you learn how to stop your addictive behaviors in 2020.
Okay, so when you talk about addictive behaviors, a lot of times that people that set these New Year's resolutions don't look at what's costing them to forget about them every year, like weight loss or alcoholism or anger or certain things that are really just messing up work ethic. All of these areas, they don't really look at addictive behaviors. They just look at it blaming somebody else or, I'll try better next year. They don't really look at the root cause, do they?
No, they don't. Let me give you my definition of addiction. I came up with this definition 35 years ago. I've used it ever since, and it works real good for you to skip the denial and say, yes, I've got a problem. The definition is, if you have a behavior that is hurting you or is hurting someone you love, and you can't stop it for whatever reason, you're addicted to that behavior. Because no one wants to hurt themselves, I don't think. No one wants to hurt their spouse or friends. And so if this behavior is hurting somebody, you need to stop it. And I'm here to help you learn how to do that.
And that's so important because you're hurting somebody else in this process. You are not just hurting yourself. And a lot of times when you talk to other people about their goals that they want to attain in 2020 or any year, does it sound like when they tell them to you? Like, for example, they're telling you, I want to lose 50 pounds. What's the answer to that question when someone says, my goal this year is I'm going to lose 50 pounds, and they're very obese? What do you say to them?
I said, well, how bad do you want to lose that 50 pounds? How sincere are you that you are going to do whatever it takes if someone would give you the answer and lose that 50 pounds? Or are you just fooling yourself and say, well, I want to lose 50 pounds, but not if it means I have to eat less. So how involved you are in wanting to get well is the first step in getting well. And if you don't really want to do it, if it's not a heart thing, it's just a kind of a brain thing where you say, well, I like to do this, I like to do that, then you're not going to get there.
No, you're definitely not going to get there at all. And it's like we all say things like, okay, this year I'm going to make sure that I get up on time. And then that for the first day that you decide you don't get up on time and the whole day is ruined and you yell and scream and you go out the door every day with poor transitioning, you're not going to try to get up early the next day, are you?
No, there's plenty of reasons why you stop your goal, but we know that most people do. And this is just an appeal to the person watching this YouTube video that if you have an addiction, it's going to hurt you or kill you sooner or later. You might as well get rid of it in 2020, and you might as well make up your mind that you're going to get well this year.
All right, so let's kind of jump into specifically enough. Your goal for 2020 yourself, your New Year's resolution, you kind of explained that to me that you want to touch so many people's lives. But what's new with you right now? And then let's talk also about the opioid crisis and some of the new news. Let's go, I guess, to the new news and opioid crisis, and then let's talk about some of your latest things happening.
Well, I found out through the internet that there is a deadly connection between anti-anxiety drugs of the class called benzodiazepam and the opioids. And for people in my age group, there's a 30% increased risk of overdose death if you're using both those drugs at the same time. And a lot of physicians are giving those drugs at the same time. If, for example, you had a muscle sprain and your doctor gave you an opioid for it, but he also has you on a benzodiazepam, and some of the common ones are Valium and Librium and Xanax and Ativan, Cirax, Restoril. There's hundreds, well, maybe not hundreds, but pretty close, anti-anxiety drugs that you could be taking. And if any of those names, you say, well, I'm taking that one, then you certainly don't want to be also taking opioids because it increases your chance of death. And the reason for that is that both the anti-anxiety drugs and the opioids decrease your breathing rate. They relax you. And when you add two or more things together, they kind of work in unison. So whereas either one of those two drugs would not have stopped your breathing, together they did. And so that's why you certainly don't want to be doing that, because your chance of dying is going up.
Exactly. And that's pretty rough. And your hope is that you get this out to many people so they don't get addicted to these drugs.
Well, that's right. It's bad enough how many people are being killed just by the opioids. But if you add on, and they're also taking an anti-anxiety drug in this class, well, that's just increasing the risk and increasing the fatalities in the United States unnecessarily.
Okay. What news do you have to tell your fans what's going on lately in podcasting and everything?
Well, we have a great podcast program, and it's got scores and scores of various things that you can look up and find out the latest from some of the authors that have just published, and just want to tell you the new stuff. It has to do with all aspects of addiction, and it has to do with your purpose in life, because having a purpose and pursuing it is one of the best things that you can do to take care of addiction problems. And so if you would go over to www.freedomfromaddiction.libsyn.com, that will take you right to this podcast. You'll go to the most recent one, and then you can scroll down and find out things that you are more interested in, perhaps. But that's a great free way to learn a lot about addiction and a lot about the spiritual necessity of having a purpose, having a mission, a destiny.
Absolutely. And that's important. For sure, you'll be doing more and more shows in the new year, and you're going to really be available for your audience regarding many different facets, but especially if they need help, but also your art. Tell us a little about your art for 2020.
Well, I started out as an artist in 1980, and I did my first painting, which was an accident, and I made $10,000 cash out of it. And I figured, if being an artist is this easy, I'll be an artist for the rest of my life. And I can tell you I've never done that again after 1980.
Oh my.
But I've turned out hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of art. And being creative is one of the things that keeps me and other people from getting into addictive behaviors. If you're creating every day, it gives you less time to be doing the things that's going to mess up your life.
You're so right. I mean, things like, even though I make radio of my radio program and television, it is a creative thing that makes me excited every day to get up and know what I'm going to get to do. It might not pay all my bills, other things I have to do to pay my bills, but ultimately I have something that's creative that, wow, this is something when I'm in that creative mode gives me the passion to not be depressed, not to be sad, to really look forward to the next day. And so many people don't look forward to that next day because they don't have any creative projects they're doing in their lives.
And another thing, Neil, is you're creating a legacy. You're putting your ideas, your creations, your interviews all on the internet, where as long as the internet is up and running, which it probably will be longer than you and I live, this will be there to help other people in so many ways. And that's something that money can't buy, is the satisfaction that it gives you to help other people.
Absolutely. And that's the passion that I have in my tutoring, and my passion of helping people by creating programs like yourself on my network and also on syndication. And it's an honor to have those things. Again, people can go to Rev Winn Henderson md.com to find out more information about your latest projects, different things. There's a blog. That's where you can link right to the radio show and your art page, all that stuff there, or follow you on all your social media sites where you're very active.
Neil, do you know what the handle is for YouTube?
I think you just kind of search Rev Winn Henderson MD, and you're going to find stuff on YouTube. They don't set up a handle. It's very strange in YouTube, but you are very well known. Just search. You're going to find your YouTube channel with all your videos that are available.
Okay, well, go over there to YouTube and see what I'm doing there, and hopefully I'll put up a lot more videos this year.
Well, it's a goal of mine, the videos, to say the least. And now I am more and more learning how to video edit, which makes me excited. So I appreciate you calling and doing this video podcast today. And thanks for coming by.
Thank you, Neil. I appreciate it.
You listen to Neil Haley's show, and we'll be back in just a moment.